Well, good afternoon. At least it is here in the eastern part of the country. This is the Central Florida Computer Society, the Windows Special Interest Group for Sunday, June 13th, 2021. I'm Hewie Poplock, and I am the Windows SIG chair for the Central Florida Computer Society. We hold this meeting every month, and we welcome you to this meeting, or if you're watching the video recording, welcome to the recording. A few days before, I will post on my website at hewie.net under WinSIG, I will post not only the topics, but these are the links to the articles that I'm going to talk about. Sometimes they change. I added one, I believe, yesterday that Ron sent me, and I haven't even added it on here, but I'm going to cover something as our first item today. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my browser. Well, the browser is open, and I am going to go to my an extension called Open Multiple URLs. And I've already posted all of the URLs that I want to cover today. And all I have to do is click this, and it's now opening at the top. And I'm going to let's see, but I have a menu over there, so I'm going to do this so I can see the top of my screen, and just resize it a little bit so it's all here. Good. And you can see that it's opening all of those pages, and they are in the order that I'm going to cover them. So let's give this first article was this morning, and I'm going to then go to print friendly so we get a nice unobstructed copy of the article. And because it's opening everything up, it's taking a while. There we go. And we want to make it, let's see, 120% maybe. And this came through just this morning, and I added it to the Tech for Senior Facebook page this morning as well. If you get a Best Buy gift card on a USB drive in the mail, don't plug it into your PC. This is from PC Mag, and it was posted this morning. PC Mag, let's see if we can just open this a little bit more. See, yeah, a little bit more. Okay. I don't know if I can go. I think that's as high as it'll go. PC Mag editors select and review products independently. Let's see, this is about here. A security firm has uncovered a rare attempt to hack a Windows computer that involved mailing the user a malware-laden USB thumb drive. This is something a little bit new, a little bit scary. Don't mean to grab your thunder, Bob G. The mysterious hacker did so by pretending the USB thumb drive was part of a $50 gift card offer from Best Buy, according to TrustWave, which obtained the letter from a company client. The letter was mailed in February, and thanks to the recipient for being a longtime customer. And so you'll see here, whoops, the Best Buy company thanks you for being a regular customer. Here's a gift card of $50, and it purports to be, when you plug it in, you're going to see items that you might want to buy for that $50. This included in this letter is seemingly a USB drive that claims to contain a list of items to spend it on. The USB thumb drive looks fairly ordinary, but according to TrustWave, it's actually been designed to deliver a malicious code that can hijack a Windows system. The thumb drive can do this because it's been programmed to emulate a USB connected keyboard. Since PCs trust keyboard USB devices by default, once it's plugged in, and the keyboard emulator can automatically inject malicious commands, the researchers wrote. A Google search on the code on the USB thumb drive revealed it was a Taiwanese e-commerce site that's been selling the devices for about $7 a piece. TrustWare's researchers then examined the USB thumbstick's behavior by connecting it to a test laptop isolated from the internet. As suspected, the drive did deliver a malicious payload by using a PowerShell command, which will manipulate the PC to secretly download more computer code. All this happens, as this all happens, the computer will be tricked into display a message that claims the USB drive has malfunctioned and thus no free gifts from Best Buy. But in reality, the thumb drive is secretly hijacking your computer to link up with the hacker's command and control server. In return, the command and control server will send malicious JavaScript code to the victim's PC. The JScript code could be anything, but when we decoded it, it reveals a code that gathers system information from the infected host, the researchers wrote. By gathering the system information, the hacker can conduct a reconnaissance to find out the best ways to exploit the victim's PC, which will likely result in the computer getting infested with various kinds of malware. So they found another way, folks, to get at us and do damage to us, and probably make some money on the side if they, depending on what they do, or sometimes they do it to make money, which is most of the time, other times just to be malicious. And Bob, you might want to take note of the address on that. Okay. The first item that was on the list online was to talk about the new update to Windows 10, which is 21H1. Which was released, and I've updated it. But you know, reading, and there's I've got what I think 2 or 3 articles here that talk about it and some of the new things that it does. And what happened is in the Windows update, it came up and it said the next Windows, let's see, let me go ahead and make this bigger here. But this was under the Windows settings, under Windows Update. It said the next version of Windows is here with all the new features. Now, I did back up before I did this, but I went ahead and downloaded and installed it. It didn't take long for it to start, and it appeared to be done, but then it said, okay, now it's doing this and it's doing that. And it took over an hour, hour and a half to do the update. And I've heard some people say it was even longer for them. But so it is available. If you didn't get it, it either is not available yet for your particular computer or setup, or if you want to go get it, you can go and download it and install it. Probably not the best idea, but I do caution you, as always, before you do any kind of a major update, you do back up your complete system, or at least your data, so that if you have to start from scratch at least you'll have the data and you won't lose any of that. Now, under the new features, and in each of the articles I have, it talks about the new features. You know, none of them really affect me. And I don't use the Windows Hello. If you have a laptop, you may, because it's the multi-camera support. It's the camera support and using a camera to log on instead of a password. The Windows Defender Application Guard performance improvements, Windows Management Instrument group policies. It really doesn't affect me. I don't do anything with that at all. And they've done away with some features, and it's support for the Windows 2000 display driver model. Well, that's nothing that affects me. And it did do away with the old legacy version of Microsoft Edge. It's no longer supported, and it's now using and wants you to use the Chromium update of Microsoft Edge. And they're also doing some personalization roaming and Windows management and instruction command line tool. These are things that probably none of us are using or utilizing. There's not a lot to this update. So if you haven't done it or it's not been ready for you yet, I wouldn't worry about it. If it has, there have been some updates, and you want to make sure you're always updated. So this next article was, it's now available and it's here. And again, they talk about the same kind of things in this article, and same with this article. They have different pictures, but basically they say the same thing. This is what I find a lot of the newsletters and magazines and and news articles about things dealing with technology. There's one or two master copies floating around, and all of the magazines use parts of it. So there's not a lot of different versions of some of these same articles. Okay, I'll come back to this one. Whoops. I'll come back to this in a minute, but before we go to it, let's do a stop share and see if there's any comments, questions about the new update.
Yeah, I have a question, Hewie.
Sure.
So you have Windows 10 Pro, right?
That's correct.
So the update, is it only apply to Pro? What about student versions and others, Home Edition, and how does that work with those?
It should be available for them as well. You should check to see if it's available for your particular system by going to the Windows Update in Settings, and it should, if it's available for your particular computer, it should tell you that. If not, you can go out and download the one for your particular version of Windows.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I know, Bob, you've installed it on several machines. Jalen?
Well, I did. I put it in the chat, but also you mentioned, could you please tell us again what you use for your system backup?
I use iDrive, which is, let me go show you.
And that's an app that you would download to do so?
Well, they have an app, but it's a service. It's a cloud service.
Oh, okay.
And it's iDrive.
And it does the whole kit and caboodle.
It's what it is. You can sign up for the first year. You can get 90% off. So you get 5 terabytes of cloud storage. It normally is $70, $69.50 a year. You can get it for $6.95 for the first year if you go and do it. And actually, it's $52.12. But if you log on, or if you go to it, you should see that little thing that I just passed for it to be for $9.95 a year.
Oh, that's for photos, but
yeah, that's photos. But yeah, I've been using it, and what happens is it goes out every night. I have it scheduled, and at 11, I have it scheduled for 11:01, and it goes out. I've got located out there now, I think it's close to 1 terabyte of data. And then every night it looks at everything that's there and says, okay, these are the new files or files that have been updated, and adds them or includes them to my backup that's out there. And you can have multiple machines. So if you've got 2 or 3 computers, they can all be in that same account and be uploaded and be in separate folders for you to get the data.
That sounds like you're doing, that's the data backup, but you also mentioned when you said that you do you do an image backup also of your system once a month?
And I use the Acronis True Image.
Okay, that's the answer I was looking for. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, but what I liked about iDrive, and some of the other ones do the same thing, that, for instance, I had close to 1 gigabyte of files that I wanted to back up. They sent me a hard drive. They pre-charged it. You have to give them a credit card number. So if you don't send it back to them, they charge you for the drive, but it's really free. They send you the drive and the software. You run the software and it puts it all on the drive. You mail them back the drive, and then they put it up. Otherwise, it's going to take you weeks, if not months. If you've got if you've got 1 terabyte of data, it's going to take a long time to back it all up. So if you do it that way, they do it, then they let you know when it's done. And at that point, you start doing it every night, and it will just keep adding all the new stuff. And that's all.
Hewie,
Yes.
that drive that you mentioned, I don't know if you're aware of it, but that goes back to March of 2020. That is not a new item. That's over a year old. It is not a current thing that's going on.
Oh, sending the drive. Okay.
Yeah. Goes back to March of 2020.
You know what? I didn't look at the date on it, but let's see. Is it still up there? No, I think I already closed it. No, wait a minute. Here, this one. Oh, yeah. I did not look at the date. Good catch. Thank you, sir.
I was wondering how come I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an old.
But either
item.
way, if you get one, don't.
Yeah, if you get anything strange, don't just plug it in your computer. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
And even if you find one, if you find a thumb drive, don't be inquisitive and wonder, gee, I wonder what's on this.
Yeah.
Don't plug it in. And that's another reason I know Ron has talked about on Tech for Seniors, has talked about different ways in which you have all of your emergency information. And one of the suggestions was we'll carry a thumb drive for the EMTs or for whoever. And the EMTs are reluctant to plug a thumb drive that you may be carrying into their machines because they don't know what's on it or whether it's infected or not. And they certainly don't want to infect their machines. So sometimes that may not be the best, even though your thoughts are there, that might not be the best idea. Ron? You're muted.
Some of the scammers will try to hack into networks, and they'll go to places like Home Depot, and they'll drop off USB keys in parking lots around the employees' cars. And when they come in to go to work at Home Depot, you know, they can't believe their luck, and they've found a free USB key. And so they will often plug it into the system at Home Depot, and that can again lead to problems, big problems, for exactly the reasons that you mentioned. So this is a common technique that bad guys use to hack into businesses. So you're right, Huey, don't put any USB keys. And that also goes for, you know, how many times does I know my wife goes to a lot of sewing and quilting shows, and you know, in your goodie bag you get a free USB key often that you know, people have bought and will give them away, and that's part of your goodie bag. Again, these are very, very, very dangerous to put into your computer.
Yep. Looking at the chat box, let's see, we were talking about, I use Acronis True Image Backup, and Mike Ungerman has been using and been very pleased with Macrium Reflect, and it's moving on me here. Macrium Reflect is a commercial backup software product, but is free to home users to use. Does an excellent job of backing up any Windows PC. It's also great for restoring those backups. Third, it's a solid choice for cloning a drive as well. Mike had some problems with Acronis and switched to Macrium Reflect and was happy with it. JJ Johnson uses Backblaze for his backup. He had an hard drive fail last year and replaced it with an SSD. Backblaze sent him a portable hard drive with his data to restore his files. And like I said, he says, like Hewie said, once you restore your data, you send the drive back to them. So yeah, it does the same thing. I don't have to, if my drive dies and I need all that data, I don't have to wait till it all downloads, especially if I didn't have a fast download speeds that I have, and I needed all that data. They'll send me the drive and I can restore it right from the drive, as well as backing it up to it. Yes.
If you're using a Windows computer, and it's Windows 7 or later, backup and restore Windows 7 still works perfectly well in the latest version of Windows 10.
Absolutely. And let's see, there's a tool to check random USB as it's plugged in and protect. Is there a tool to check a random USB as it's plugged in and protect and warn of problems? Bob, do you know of anything?
Yeah, there is. And if those of you who've had me as a presenter and have my follow-up information, it's in there. I don't remember it offhand, and I can't get to where it is on my computer. But yes, there is a tool. It's totally free.
But
Okay.
Hewie?
Yes.
What I use is I usually check if I have an unfamiliar thumb drive that I'm putting in, I will put it in, and I use Malwarebytes because I like Malwarebytes and we'll have it check. Also, you can ask Windows Defender to check a specific drive. So that's one way to hopefully catch any bad guys that might be attempting to get into your system on a thumb drive.
Bob, if you just plug in a USB drive, can it infect you without you even hitting a key?
Yes, it can.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
I'll
Can you
put the
but
link. I'll put the link to the program in the chat as soon as I have it.
Okay. Can you also change the settings so that in File Manager it doesn't automatically open? That it asks you, you know how it asks you what you want to do with the thumb drive? Does that help?
That's not the problem. You plug it in, it automatically infects you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and let's see, what's wrong with the Windows backup? Somebody asked, and we had talked about that. There is, Bob mentioned that the Windows 7 backup program does work on Windows 10. Okay, let's go ahead and go back. And the next article still has to do with updating and upgrading and so on. The article is, let's see, let me go ahead and do this with this. And there's a lot to look forward to in the future of Windows 10, and the not too distant Sun Valley update is an excellent case in point. And what they're doing is they're updating the icons. These icons that are used in Windows 10 have been around since Windows 95, the same icons. And you will see on the left are the new icons, on the right are the older ones. And so some have changed a little bit. You know, does it make a big difference? I don't think so, but I guess somewhere along the way, there are some differences. And then there's this. Let's see if I can make this bigger here. You can see that some of them have changed. This is from a particular system. So you may see some different icons in some updates coming up with Windows 10. And then this article appeared yesterday, but it's a follow-up to a lot of rumors that have been going around about Windows. At the last conference, developers conference that Microsoft held a couple of weeks ago in Orlando, I believe it was in Orlando, it was online anyway. It used to be in Orlando. They mentioned that they're having an announcement on June 24th on Windows 10. And boy, are the rumors rampant, but there's not been a lot of leaks on what the announcement's going to be. So there's a lot of people guessing. So I have a few articles here on what might be, but you know what? I don't like talking about what might be in here, because you start thinking about it and oh boy, that's coming, and it never comes, it never shows up. But this article I thought was pretty good. Is Windows was supposed to be the last version of the operating system. Here's why Microsoft might have changed its mind. And let's see, let's go ahead and open it with this. And now I was listening to a podcast this week, and they were saying, you know, we all have the idea that someone in Microsoft, they've been really pushing the fact that the Windows 10 is going to be the last version of Windows, and it's always going to be Windows 10. But these reporters for some of these podcasts have been trying to check, and it was an underling at one particular meeting mentioned that Microsoft itself has never said that. And we all take it in our minds, and all of the articles that I've been reading are indicating that, well, Windows 10 may not be the last version. There may be a Windows 11 or calling it something else. And as we heard on Tech for Seniors live, one of our visitors texted their relative that worked for Microsoft, and they said, no, there is going to be something new. They were under a non-disclosure and they couldn't tell us, but it wasn't called Windows 11. So on all the articles are calling it Windows 11. So they don't know. But anyway, this article talks about why it would be in their best interest to do it. And I thought that was some important things. One is good for business. Shipping new versions of big products such as Windows has led to big increases in Microsoft's revenue growth rate. Now, since we get updates free, well, how are they making money? Well, they do charge for every new machine that goes out with the Windows 10 on it. They get some kind of a fee from the manufacturer, and they also sell it to businesses. So they are making money on Microsoft Windows. Tough comps. The coronavirus benefited PC makers, including Microsoft, as people rushed to buy computers to work and take classes at home. Technology industry research company Gartner estimated the PC shipments in 2020 grew faster than they had in a decade. That's lifted growth rates for Windows license revenue tied to consumer PCs. As a result, Microsoft could release Windows updates that entice people to buy new machines. The Google threat. The threat from Google's Chrome OS has arguably never been bigger. Microsoft had decided not to come out with their Windows X, which was supposed to be in competition to the Google Chrome OS, but they may have something in mind similar to it or using some of what they learned in setting that up. The Apple threat. Apple has posed a threat to Windows ecosystem by introducing Mac computers that run on its own ARM-based M1 chips, which boast more impressive battery life than Intel-based PCs. Microsoft and other PC makers have come out with ARM-based Windows 10 computers, but software compatibility issues have made the machines hard for reviewers to recommend, and so on. There's more information there, but the boosting Surface, not only as big as Windows or other Microsoft franchises, such as Azure and Office, but Microsoft still sells its own line of Surface PCs that could be made more intriguing on shelves. So that could be another reason for a new version of Windows. Getting older. By pumping out 2 Windows 10 updates per year, Microsoft is making sure the operating system is staying fresh. It's still almost 6 years old, which means it's been around longer than any of its predecessors. Enhancing the brand, a fresh new Windows could help with the company's overall perception. Developers of Windows got revamped. Software developers might want to bring their software to the opening system to capitalize on renewed public attention. Windows, of course, succeeded in a large part because developers chose to build their applications for Windows. Chris Caposellis, Microsoft's chief marketing officer, said during a conversation with Evercore on Monday, the company could benefit by getting more hot properties in its app store for Windows and the pursuit of perfection. So these are all reasons that Microsoft might be doing this, but we don't know what they're going to do. And I've got a couple of articles that I've posted here on, let's see, that wasn't it. I think I might not even have them on here. This is another article. So let's go back here. So let's see if there's any comments, any questions. Anyone think they know what's coming? I think we're going to find out on the 24th. We may get some hints before then, but they've held it pretty close to the vest and they're not letting out what it's going to be. Again, some of the pundits and some of the podcasters have indicated it may be hardware bound, that you're going to have a newer computer to run whatever they're going to come out with. And that way to spark interest in new computers and new sales of the software and so on. Because there's billions of people using Windows 10 and Windows, and they certainly want to get more money, because at one time, every time they updated Windows, we had to pay for it, and now it's been free for 6 years to get updates. Okay, let's go back to my notes. Now we're doing on time, we're good. And this next article, how to pin applications and files to your Windows taskbar to make them easily accessible. I was going to cover this today, and I started working on it and decided I made a video, and I'm going to use it for Monday's Tech for Seniors, and I will post it on my channel probably later today on how to pin a file to your Windows taskbar. Pinning an application is fairly easy. Pinning a file to your taskbar is a little bit more difficult and more involved, and I did a video on this. This was an answer to a question at the Sarasota Technology User Group Stug's Windows forum, Windows 10 forum. Someone asked, how do you do that? And I didn't know, and I did some looking up, and I said, well, this would be a good topic to share, and you'll be able to see it Monday, or you'll be able to see it over the weekend, or when I say over the weekend, later today or tomorrow on my channel as well. Let's see. While I was doing some looking for articles for today, I came across this website, and I have not used it before, at least I didn't remember, and I didn't have it in my list of RSS feeds and places to go check. And so I wanted to pass the website on to you. It's called OnMSFT, or on Microsoft. So they have an article on what to expect, 10 questions about Windows 11. Of course, they're calling it that. And one of the things we may see is a Windows machine that's a foldable screen. But anyway, so what's in a name? Expect something different. What about enterprise? So they had some good questions, but they have a lot of really good articles on the website. Here's the latest list. Something about Xbox, the podcast episode. They have a podcast, which is also, I'm starting to listen to those as well. Microsoft News Recap, Windows. This is a website talking about Microsoft, but not from Microsoft. So not everything is going to be pro Microsoft. They also just do some reviews and some talks about some things about Microsoft, including some things that you might want to know. They do a lot of ads, and I can't just shut that out of there. There it is. Now the X is there. So it might be a good site if you want to check, if you're interested in keeping up with what's going on. Okay, this is this is one of those articles about the new Windows that's going to be announced. And now here was another article that I came across, totally different subject, and I thought was interesting. The Wi-Fi has left the building. Creative Wi-Fi solutions for shut down schools, K through 12 schools, and what a lot of schools are doing and changes they're making. Remember the old saying, if the mountain, remember the old saying, if the mountain won't come to Muhammad, then Muhammad must go to the mountain. In time for the current pandemic, we need a revision. If students can't come to school for free Wi-Fi, because some students don't have it at home, then the school must send Wi-Fi to the students. And so in Oklahoma, they've been providing Wi-Fi to its 165 students was imperative. Our area was so poor and rural, said the superintendent, we're geographically dispersed over mountains and valleys with dead spots everywhere and sketchy cyber service. He knew he needed to work fast to enable instruction once his school was closed. So they put access points on the outside of the school building on a digital sign on the highway and the city hall. All three provide internet connectivity for people within 1,000 feet. The district also distributed Chromebooks so that the teachers and students can use Google Classroom, Zoom, and other digital tools. We've asked our elementary school teachers to meet twice a week with each student, and our middle school teachers to conduct group meetings twice a week. So far, we've had a lot of engagement, and it's all going well. And then Wi-Fi on wheels. Well, strategically placed outdoor access points proved to be the right solution for a small district. Here in Manatee County in Florida, that's where I live, They needed to provide coverage for 49,000 students. Matt Bauer, a senior engineer, network system and security, described that first, the district handed out almost 10,000 Chromebooks and Windows laptops. Next, it was time to make sure that all the families had internet connectivity. And the learning management system. The school technology department ordered 400 mobile hotspots to give families with an additional 81 hotspots ordered to be used for summer school, bringing the total number of hotspots to 481. They installed Extreme Networks outdoor access points at 36 schools to provide Wi-Fi access daily between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m., then purchased additional access points to install at another 19 sites. The indoor spaces of the district are well blanketed with 4,000 Extreme Networks Wi-Fi access points. But the districts wanted to do more, so they installed Wi-Fi devices on 25 buses. They are currently parking the Wi-Fi buses at dozens of locations around town, including churches and other community centers. This way, students can get free internet access at various spots between 9 and 4 every day. According to an article in a magazine, around 45 to 60 students use the Wi-Fi daily, and district hopes to double its fleet of buses and continue making them available during summer school and possibly beyond. So a lot of these schools are becoming quite, they're adapting and coming up with good ideas. And even a lot of the library systems, in one of the presentations I do for on how to get audio books and so on from the libraries, and how to get learning for seniors, a lot of the libraries, I believe in this area too, they've done it. You can actually take out a hotspot from the library, the same kind that you go in and you buy and purchase a subscription for. You can get them from your local library system for, say, 2 weeks and take it home and use it at home to get the internet. So they are providing that as part of your library card for free. So check and see if that's available in your area if you do need it as well. So a lot of these schools are coming up with some really good ideas and some different ways in which to provide Wi-Fi for their students. On that, let's take a quick break and see if there's any comments or questions. But I thought that was interesting that they're parking buses as a hotspot around town. And I had not heard that until I read that article, and it's in my county. So there hasn't been a lot of publicity on it. But what a neat idea. And it probably didn't cost them a lot. Steve?
Yeah, I kind of wonder if they're doing the same for charter schools and private schools, if there's even a need for that. The article probably didn't address that, but
No, it didn't. Jalen?
Yeah, I have heard of instances where this is being done throughout the nation. I mean, it depends. I think it depends on the school community and what's available to them, and how ready the school board or the school staff is ready to reach out to the students and enable them to keep on in connection. So it is going on. I have seen evidence or read articles and seen a few news items on TV about it. So it's an awesome, wonderful thing to do. Everything we can do to help to get the kids back going strong is an important step.
And with the libraries doing it, it's also for seniors that either can't afford or live in an area where there just isn't Wi-Fi available or isn't access available, that they would be able to do it with a hotspot.
Our local library is doing it too. The one thing that we did, I did a little presentation about LinkedIn Learning, which used to be lynda.com.
Yep, lynda.com, love it.
Being available through our local library. Unfortunately, budgeting knocked it out at the end of April. So as soon as I did, it wasn't worth doing the thing, because the day we did the presentation about it was the day they no longer were going to have it available. But they have other good learning sites to go to through the library, most definitely. It's a great resource for our community.
Well, as good as all that is, the fact that they still are bandwidth and dropout problems, I think, for students, and that's always been a problem, probably continue to be.
Absolutely.
The
Okay,
options
let's.
here, or press the plus button here. We will add a video first. On this screen, you can search for
Somebody's got
title
a.
of
Let's see.
your own
I
videos
have
on
to
your
stop
channel
sharing. See who that
or
is.
any video on YouTube. Once you've found the video you're looking for, click on it
Um,
to automatically add the card to the timeline.
I don't see who
This is how
that
the
is.
input card will
Could be
look. It
Ron.
lasts for about
Just
5
mute
seconds
everybody.
during that point.
Yep. And let's go to the next. Okay, this is, oh, this was about the OnMS, who are they? They were found as winbeta.org. As of March 21, they're running their own WordPress installation. Let's see, where does it say where they are? It says they are not affiliated with Microsoft, although it's a Microsoft-oriented website. So just to tell you, and you can see they have articles on Windows 10, Windows Insider, Xbox, on podcast, how-tos, Microsoft 365, Office 365, Teams, videos, developer reviews, and opinion. There's a lot on that website. And again, that's on OnMSFT.com. I have no affiliation with them at all. This was another article from there, and this was on the Power, I don't know if that's BI or BI, Windows 10 app gets new homepage and improved performance. I don't use this. Windows by Windows, see the Power by Windows 10 has been updated this week with a new homepage design that's currently in beta. It can be turned on and off by clicking on the new look. According to the team, the new home page serves as a centralized hub for all Power BI content, but I am not familiar with it at all. And yet there was a big article on it. So anyone here familiar with it at all? Okay. Well, here's what it is. I have an article on that. It's a free application you install on your local computer that lets you connect to, transform, and visualize your data. So if you have a lot of data to work with, then it's something you might want to use. I don't have a lot of data that I use, so I probably wouldn't have a use for it. Probably most of us wouldn't. But it's something that's available and it's free. If it's something, there's a link to it. This is from Microsoft. There's a link to it on the list for today's items, this particular page. It'll give you more information on it, and you can go and check it and see if it's something that you can use. It's not something that I need. Another article, the June patch Tuesday. Okay. Even though you do the major updates twice a year, throughout the year, usually on a Tuesday, Microsoft does patches, and they do them once a month. And the June patch updates are now available for Windows 10 version 21, H1 and older. So, and not only the latest version, but also if you haven't updated to that, you're using 20H2 or whatever they were called before then. But Microsoft released the June 2021 patch Tuesday updates for all supposed versions, and it does. This article talks about the fact that they are available, and I believe the next article. No, I guess I don't. If you can go and find what the list of the patches are and what they do, what they fix, you should be doing these updates on a regular basis. Don't say, well, I'm afraid to do something because it may break my Windows. Well, these mostly are security updates, and that means they have found ways to stop the holes that the bad guys are getting to get in and put malware in or put viruses on your system and so on. And so the best thing to do is to keep your Windows updated on a regular basis. And so you want to run these, if you don't have it set for automatic, at least run them manually every so often. as long as you're doing backups, you shouldn't have anything to worry about. Another article, Office for Android introduces new voice transcription features for select users. Now this for select users is the key here. Microsoft is introducing a new voice transcription option in its unified Office apps on Android. This new feature is currently rolling out to Office insiders and provides an option to capture transcribed voice recordings on their smartphones. Whether you want to preserve a billion-dollar idea before you forget it, or you need to record an important discussion, the voice capture feature in Office Mobile has you covered. The feature allows you to go beyond simple voice memos with live speech-to-text transcription. It also offers synced text highlighting during the playback and the ability to share your content by exporting it to either to other Microsoft 365 apps and services. To try this feature, users need to tap on the plus icon available at the bottom of the Home tab and choose either the voice option available under the quick capture section in the app. Now start speaking to record your voice note and then tap the done button. The app will automatically transcribe the speech and users will be able to find the transcription by tapping on the specific recording in the list. The new capture experience is rolling out gradually. So you have to have that particular build, and it's not available for everyone just yet. Microsoft noted that this update requires users to set their default language and region to English, United States. If you have yet to try Microsoft's unified Office app, you can check it out with the download below. In other words, go to the on your Android phone. And Apple's FaceTime video calling app will soon support Android devices and PCs via the web. And boy, the press jumped on this, and they jumped on it in such a way that made it sound like, Facebook is finally going to be available on my PC or on my Android phone, and that's not the way it's going to work. Number one, the Apple device it has to be initiated on an Apple device, and it has to be one that can be updated to the new Apple OS 15, iOS 15. So on my iPad that I have is too old and won't go past actually version 12. So I won't be able to do this on my iPad, but I can do it on my iPhone because that one is still updatable. But it has to be initiated by FaceTime, and then you invite someone on a PC or on an Android device. Someone on an Android device or a PC cannot initiate a FaceTime conversation. It has to come from somebody on an Apple device, and you have to connect. If you have an Android or a PC, not only do you have to be invited, but you have to connect with somebody who has such a device and the correct version. And on that note, I'm going to take a break, see if there's any questions or comments about that. So they make it sound like it's really a great thing, but it's somewhat, if not more limited than you would expect it to be. So they don't open it up. They do. Apple does keep things close at hand and it's close under their control. Jalen?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think it's when I first heard about it, I was rather amazed that they were doing that. And then you hear the truth of the matter, which is it's still Apple oriented only. And even though you can participate, you can't really do FaceTime. You can only be invited in.
Yep.
So,
and it's too bad because I know some people that, and Ron is a good example of that. He's got 2 children outside of the Northern Hemisphere, and they want to converse with them and their family and his family via iPad. And so he had to get an iPad to do it because they will only do it with FaceTime. Ron, you had a comment.
I had to buy an iPad.
Yeah.
They made me do it. So to talk to my kids. However, every time I call them on the iPad, and that's the only time I use it, I get them. So it's worth it.
Yep. But it would be nice for those of us in the Android systems and on a PC a lot to be able to converse with people as well. That have FaceTime. Yes. Yeah, Dave.
From what I understand, Duo, which is the Google, equivalent of FaceTime, is now accessible for people on PC.
Okay, but what about Apple?
Well, Duo is cross-platform. Duo will
Okay.
work with somebody on an Apple device.
Okay, but like Ron's kids, they're not going to do that. It's got to be FaceTime or nothing for him. So yeah, but yeah, that might be an answer. Ron, you want to add to that? And then
Yeah, Duo has always been available on cross-platform, so it's great for people who want to use it. You can use it on an iPad, any Apple device, iPhone, and you can use it on any Android device, and also you can use it on Windows. It's always been available for that, and Duo works great. I think it works as well as FaceTime. The only problem is that the other side of the fence has to be interested in using it. If they're Apple people and they only use Apple stuff and they only want to use FaceTime, then it's really hard to get into the social milieu of your family, right? But you're right. Whoever said that was great. Duo is absolutely great. I use it all the time. The only thing, I don't know if everyone's found this, but man, it sucks the power out of my battery when I use it on my phone. It's really uses a lot of power. But aside from that, it's great. And it's free.
The only one I've ever used it on is my wife, and that was only just to try it. Nobody else is using it.
Yeah.
Shandon, you had a question or comment?
Yeah, well, there are other ways of, number one, it's really easy to do FaceTime, and it's only $300 to get that, to be able to talk to all your children directly. You buy something that they use and they will talk to you on it. Number two, there is also WhatsApp video calling, which is free and it's cross-platform. So, but again, many of these apps are based for the cell phones, and you can use them on your laptop or something else, but it's so much easier to just, use your cell phone. So if you want a larger screen, then you have to go through some hoops. You have to initiate the call on the app in your phone and then transfer it to your laptop for WhatsApp. At least that's the way it was a couple of years ago. I just use WhatsApp directly. And sometimes when WhatsApp, which has been bought over by Facebook, they're trying to throttle it, I think, because they want people to use Messenger video chat. So FaceTime works much easier than using WhatsApp. But WhatsApp video was a great app anywhere in the world.
Yeah, some doctors are using WhatsApp too. Bob?
On show also works, but people on the other end also have to have an Amazon show.
Yeah, and what's the other one that, Microsoft Teams, I believe now is free. And of course, Zoom, you can use the free Zoom product. So Zoom one-to-one is unlimited. It's when you Zoom to more than one other person that you're limited to the 40 minutes. And I don't know if they've done away with the unlimited during the COVID or not, but for a while they even had it unlimited for the free account. Okay, any other comments before I go back? And let's see where I am here. I got one more article. And this is 10 keyboard shortcuts to use in Windows 10 and how to use them. And this is using the Windows key. These are some things here. What I do a lot of times is I'll take this, I'll go like this, Control C, and I did a Control C, or I can right mouse click and copy. I'll do it that way too. And then I can go to Word, open a new document, and just do a paste. Let's see, that's merge formatting, keep the source formatting, keep the source formatting. I can even make this bigger if I wanted to now and say, okay, it's 13, let's make it about 16. And then save the document and print it, and I have a copy of it if I want it, or I can cut it out and put it next to my computer, and there's all of the keystrokes that I want to learn, these 10, if I wanted to learn these 10. I'm not going to save it right now, but just to show you how you can use this, or just print this out as well. But if you want to save it, unless you have something like Evernote, and I can, again, highlight this, go to my Evernote. For those of you who saw last month's or the months before presentation, I've got it marked for selection. I say save clip. It's now saved it in Evernote. So if I open up Evernote, come on, and go to the notes, and then just click the note, and there it is. It's in my Evernote now, and it's one of over 17,000 notes. And it went, of course, it's the latest one, so I have it at the top. But I now have it, so I'll always have those available. Those ways, as you're reading through things like this that you want to keep, there are ways to do it without having to write them all down and without losing pieces of paper. And does explain what each of these do. The Windows key and E opens your File Explorer. If I hold my Windows key down and hit the letter E, bingo, it opens up my File Explorer. And you can't see me doing it the keystrokes. This is going to lock my PC, so it'll shut us out. So I'm not going to do that. But the Windows key and L locks it. The Windows key and a period gets the image, the emoji picker. So I'm going to do the Windows key and hit the period. And you'll see it down here. And I can move it here. And then I can pick from any of these emojis and put it in whether a document or email I want. So that might be a cute one for you. Let me close this video. That might be a cute one for you to use. And that's the Windows key and the period. So I can't use this because I use a program called Clipmate, and it takes the place of the clipboard program, the in Windows clipboard, and does it with a separate app. So I can't do this, but Control V would search through your, keyboard, Windows key and V would search through your clipboard history. You want to open your settings real quick, just do the Windows key and the letter I. Bingo, it opens it right up. Windows keys 1, 2, 3. You'll notice I've got a whole bunch of icons down here. It starts on the left and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I want Windows key and 5, it'll open up my snip and sketch. Let's see if that works. Windows key 5. Bingo, there it is. So if you maintain things down on your taskbar and you've got 10 or less, or you want to have the most important ones as the first 10, Windows key and whatever number it is will open that up. Control Shift while clicking a program icon will run it as the admin. The Windows key and Alt D gets you the date and time. So the Windows key and Alt and the letter D opens up the date and time. Windows key and G gets you the Xbox game bar to record a screen. So if I hit the Windows and G, you get a menu up here that allows you to record your screen. So if you want to record part of your screen to show what you're doing in a video and then send it to somebody to show them what they should be doing on their computer, you can do it. And as you go through your what you're doing and then stop the recording, save the file, and then share it with the other person so they can see what you did on your computer. The Windows key, the Shift and the S does quick screenshots. If you want to do a quick screenshot, the Windows key, Shift, and the letter S. So Windows key, Shift, and S. And there it is. So I can take any part of this. I can take it this way. So there's several things you can do. Let's take this. So I can say, okay, I want to do something like this. And then if I go and I look at it's in my clipboard. And so if I open up a good one for that is Notepad and do a Control V, there's what I just grabbed. And that's the 10 that are in this list. And that is the top 10 keyboard shortcuts. Okay. That's all I had in my list of things to cover today. And let's see if we can do some more Q&A for the next 5 or 10 minutes, and that'll get us ready for the main meeting of CFCS. Comments, question? Ted, don't forget to unmute yourself. Well, Ted's trying to figure out how to unmute himself. Ted is a big proponent of keyboard shortcuts. So I think that's what he might be talking about, but I'm going to guess. He hasn't unmuted himself yet. He's probably on his iPad and trying to figure out how to unmute. And
you don't have
just tap on your screen and you should get your menu.
You know, it used to be the host could unmute people and they stopped doing that because it could be embarrassing in some situations.
Yeah, yes.
But you
Security
can set it
reasons.
up and you can still set it up for certain meetings in global settings on Zoom.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I
but
can unmute and mute people when I do our virtual jam each week. I've set it up so in those I can mute and unmute people as they play.
Yeah.
So
I don't do it because
possible.
we use this for several meetings. We have several people that run them.
Right. Right. It may
And
not
for
be
security
appropriate.
reasons, we don't want to
It
do
may
it.
not be appropriate.
You-
Right.
You
Oh,
also
he's
used
there.
to
He's
be
ready.
able- You
John?
also used to be able to do it with space bar and doesn't seem to work anymore.
I don't, yes. On some machines it does, and some it doesn't. Ted, now you unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay, if I have, well, I do have about 4 HP printer updates. For some reason, I have not used them. But if I use the latest, will that take care of the first 3 as well?
Maybe yes and maybe no.
I'm not,
That-
I think it will, but I'm not absolutely sure because I use HP printers also and do the updates regularly. I'd give it a shot with just the most recent one and the others should disappear if they're no longer needed.
Yeah, that was going to be my suggestion.
Are
Do
you
them.
using instant ink with your HP?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you, Ted.
Are you using instant ink?
Not,
Using the instant ink feature.
I am not because I have a LaserJet, a color LaserJet,
Oh, yeah, okay,
which I love.
all right.
But I'd still, that should not be affected by doing updates to the printer.
Oh, no, I did not have any relation to that. with
Okay,
that.
okay.
Okay, that was a second question. All right.
everyone else was using HP Instant Ink. I've been using it for about a year and a half now, and I think it works out a lot good.
I've set it up for a couple of clients of mine and they like it very, very much. They just don't have to worry about it. And the ink comes and it's ready to go based on the process that the software is sending back to HP.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ted. Mike Sorn, you have a question?
On most routers, they have a USB port, and I've seen some people that I've seen in a place where they put a printer on that port and got it to work from their phone and from other things. I've never been able to get that working. Has anybody had some experience? I've tried treating it as a wireless printer, but then it wants to be wireless. It doesn't work through the router.
I've never done it that way. I have taken a printer and connected a network cable and plugged it into one of the RJ45 ports, but never to the USB port. I don't know. I don't know what that USB port is designed to do. Does anyone else have any experience or knowledge?
I would think it depends on the router model, and did you get it from the service provider like some of us do, or did you buy it outright? I think that's the key is figuring out what brand it is or what model it is, and then finding what that USB port is for.
Yeah.
In most cases, I've found that it's for a USB stick or some other storage to give you some storage, and that's about it. I've never seen that. Well, many, many years ago, there were some that handled printers, but that's a long time ago.
Yeah, I would doubt that you could do a printer to that USB port. It would have to be through an RJ45 port. In other words, instead of Wi-Fi, it's using just an Ethernet port and doing a direct connect to the internet. And you may not, and not all printers might be able to handle that.
Oh, there is such a thing as dongles. You know, I think they call them, that do allow some type of transmission. Usually that's for other types of devices, though, like maybe a projector or something like that. But maybe printers will accept a dongle.
Yeah, I don't know. Chandra?
Years ago, from Cox, that's our ISP provider, there was a USB port there, but they said that was used only for Cox to troubleshoot, that it was really not an open USB for us to add anything to it.
Yeah, that makes sense. This has been the Central Florida Computer Society's Windows Special Interest Group, or WinSIG, for Sunday, June 13th, 2021. I'm Hewie Poplock. We've had a nice crowd, a lot of good comments and questions. I hope some interesting topics. And for those of you who are live, please stay online. We're going to have the Central Florida Computer Society's main meeting next with John Kennedy, or Free John as he's known as, talking about free and sometimes inexpensive, but mostly free software. So we'll take a short break. I'll turn it over to Stan Wallner, and I'm going to stop the recording.